y'all, what's going on? It's Barb Meets World, and I am here today to discuss this has been anticipated for over a year and a half at this point. The Real Housewives of Atlanta's season 16, episode 1. Welcome back, Peaches. Yes, season 16, Sweet 16, and we're about to get all up into that, y'all. Don't you worry. But before we do that, I need you guys to do a couple of things for me, which include liking the video. Yes, like the video because it helps me and my channel in terms of the algorithm. It helps me attract new subscribers such as yourselves. Also, while you're at it, go on ahead, hit the subscription button if you are not a current subscriber. Yeah, go ahead, do that. Also, while you're at it, please leave me a comment in the comment section below because I would just love to, hear your comments, critiques, opinions of this premiere episode, as well as my commentary, and share me with all of your folks near and far, as well as hitting that notification bell so you know every single time I make an upload, okay? Yes. So just a couple things, couple things, nothing too crazy or whatever. But again, this is a highly anticipated season. We see some new faces, we see some old faces, we see, everything in between, y'all. And I'm just feeling like I don't know exactly where we're going with this, but we're going somewhere. And I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if I'm going to dislike it. I don't know if I'm going to love it. I don't know if I'm going to hate it. I don't know how I'm going to feel, quite frankly. But what I do know is a couple ladies came in there with an agenda. They damn sure did. And by a couple ladies, I specifically mean Brit and Kelli. I feel like Brit came in there with an agenda, and her agenda was to go for Kenya. And I feel like Kelli, on the other hand, came up in there gunning for Porsha. You guys can't tell me otherwise until I feel like I see something that's going to make me feel like differently. That's exactly how I see it. And am I completely mad at it? No, because they are the, OGs of the group, right? So we know that they have to get a reaction. They have to get a reaction out of us viewers. They have to solidify their spot. And oftentimes you solidify your spot by going up against, the big dogs or whatever, however you want to put it. So we'll get into all of that. We are, reintroduced to Porsha, who we haven't seen for 3 years now. Porsha, she opened the episode, which, I could have deduced that was going to happen. She opens the episode. She talks a bit about what she's got going on in her life. She gives us some background as to how the man that she married turned out to be somebody who she had no idea who he was. Excuse me, Porsha, you're not about to come in here and play in our faces. You are not about to come in here and play in our faces and try to tell us that the red flags weren't there. This man showed you exactly who he was before you walked down that aisle, and you still proceeded to do so because you thought that you were cashing in a cash cow. At the same time, I will give Porsha this much credit because we actually find out in a scene during this episode that she actually isn't as excuse me, she isn't as simple as we think she is, because if this all falls in her favor, this whole divorce, she could walk off with a couple extra $1 million in her pockets that she didn't have to shell out prior to. So if it does work out in her favor in that regard, I won't look at her too crazy. I'm gonna still look at her crazy, but not too crazy, right? Because ultimately, at least you got something out of it. anyway, so she opened the episode with that. She says that her and PJ are still living in the home, etc., etc. From there, then we see Shamea coming into Sterling, not even just her house. Sterling Hall is what her home is known as. And it's a $9 million home. It was the second most expensive property to sell in that particular year in the state of Georgia. But at the same time, she doesn't want us to define her by her wealth. And I'm like, okay, but you led with that. Who knows? Production could have told her to say that. We don't really know. But what we do know is she's coined up. She's coined up enough to, I feel like, hang with the girls up in Beverly Hills, honestly. And it doesn't seem like we're going to have any expenses spared when it comes to Shamea and what she's got going on. This is the first episode, and we opened up with her and her party where she was gifted a beautiful, it's not even just an automobile. That is like the automobile of automobiles. So I don't think that we're going to see any shortage of wealth where, you know, Shamea is in life right now. They got all the money. Undeniable. And I feel like a lot of people feel like that's why Porsha comes off the way she does and why she probably was going so hard to want to film at her house and to do this and to do that, because her best friend over here is, you know, obviously super wealthy. I could understand that. And Porsha being the type of person that she is, I can easily see her, that being her logic, even though at the end of the day, if this is your best friend, if this is, you know, your ace boon coon, then you really shouldn't be out here having any feelings of jealousy or feeling like, you know, you need to be in a competition with her. But again, this is Porsha we're talking about. And as much as like the likable parts about her, I do like, but they're just always overshadowed by this type of shit when it comes to Porsha. So yeah. Anyway, Shamea, she has her birthday party this episode. Her birthday actually falls on Mother's Day, which shout out to the Tauruses out there. That's actually the same day as my mom's birthday, and my good sis Nola Reese, that's her birthday too. So it's a very significant day in my life. And she also talks about how she's a quadruple threat. She's a host, she's a singer, she's a dancer, she acts, I think too. Like, so yeah. I think, yeah, those are all four. I know she acts, but hosting, singing, dancing, acting. Yeah, those are all four of them. So I'm sure we're going to get a glimpse into all of those things throughout the season. And we also see her daughters. She has a 5-year-old named Shia, right? And then her youngest daughter, who's 15 months, her name is Shiloh. However, she was born prematurely, and she has since suffered a lot of health complications, but you know, she's definitely a trooper. And Shamea doesn't get into too much detail on this episode about it, but she does speak more on it. If you guys watched Candy speak on it with her, she actually talks a bit more about all of the things that her daughter has endured medically since she was born. But that's not stopped her from wanting to have more kids. She probably wants to have a son, I think, now. So, and also her youngest daughter was born via surrogate, and the surrogate that she used is actually the same surrogate. I think her name is Shadina. Yeah, that Candy used when she had Blaze. So I thought that was cool or whatever. And for her, it's family over everything. Her family was there. Her home decor, not exactly like my taste, just like, you know, her clothing is not really my taste, but hey, out of my tax bracket, so whatever. Her and her husband, they've been together. She said they've been together 10 years. I don't know if she meant married. I think she just means in totality, they've been together 10 years. And she explains how they met and everything. And a lot of people didn't appreciate how she went into such great detail about the first night that they spent together and stuff, and how she blew up his bathroom pretty much. But, you know, he was cool with it. He was cool with it enough to, you know, put some wipes up in there for the next time she came. So, and they've been, you know, as thick as thieves ever since. So She likes it. I love it. I feel like my only thing with Shamea is like she doesn't give us a lot of like, she has all these different layers to herself as she tells us, but it's like she doesn't really give us that much depth. Like she leads with the, not gonna be twerking, but I could twerk, da, 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 da. And then you tell us about this story of you blowing up his bathroom. It's just like, okay, what is the true substance there? What is the, like, I want to just go deeper with it. Like, I don't know. Like she seems like good energy and fun, but it's like, is that all? Like you're just like the fun friend all the time? Like where is, like, I'm trying to like sink my teeth into like really. I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to say. It just it falls short for me in that regard. But anyway, Porsha, we know, yeah, they're best friends. She's the one that told her to shave her vagina. Yeah, like what? I mean, it's like ha ha he he, but is everything like a ha ha he he or like a just random thing to say? I don't know. Titties out. It was a lot. It was a lot. Nonetheless, she also talks about obviously how she is connected to each lady in the group, with the exception of Angela. Angela is coming into the group by way of Drew, but she is more familiar with Angela's husband, Charles. So don't really have too much to say about that, other than like I'm interested to hear her husband speak, because like I said, like I've never heard him speak or anything like that. I want to see more of their dynamic. I do feel like, unlike Porsha, I do feel like her and her husband actually do have a connection. I can actually like see them being together and whatnot, versus Porsha and Dennis's daddy. Oh my God. Shout out to, was that Bondi who said that? I think so. Oh my God. Too funny. Anyway, over at Drew's house, on the other hand, it seems like things between her and Ralph went really bad, really fast. So much so that he is now living in the basement, and that was a court order. And they could only communicate through an app. And on said app, the courts, the judge and everything, they can see their communication. So Drew tries to keep it very professional, very cutesy. Ralph, on the other hand, he be in there trying to be starting up drama and, just being Ralph at the end of the day. So their divorce is, I could have known that their divorce would be messy just based off of the interactions that we've seen them have since day one of them being on the show. I would expect nothing less, unfortunately. Drew, don't pick anybody else like Ralph ever again in your life if you know what's good for you. But I guess we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see on that one. Nonetheless, she also says that every first, third, and fifth Friday or fifth weekend, he has to leave, or she has to leave the home. Okay. I didn't talk about this yesterday because I realized it after I ended my video that we're probably not going to get any confessionals from Kenya, right? Obviously not. Now we know for sure. I don't like that. I feel like when they say she's going to be in this supportive role, I'm assuming that means exactly what we got on this episode, her only being present just enough for it to make sense and for her to do things within like the group as a whole, rather than us focus on her individual storylines and stuff like that. Because if they take her out completely from those types of segments, it'll probably mess up the story. There's going to be holes in the story. So, and we also need to see how we get to that big blow up between her and Brit. Other than that, I don't think we're going to see much of her. And it really sucks for someone like me, because I hate that she went out like this. I think that her legacy and her time being on this show, for it to just go down like this in the end, it sucks. It sucks to see. It's bittersweet to see, really, because at the end of the day, Kenya, whatever you did to, bring this on yourself is something I feel like you didn't need to do. But at the same time, I'll go back to saying what I said in the beginning, that it was very clear to me, at least during this episode, that Brit came in there with an agenda, and it was to come for Kenya. Because I don't feel like Kenya even met her with that energy off the bat. But I'm sure some of you guys may think otherwise, and I welcome you guys to let me know how you see it. Anyway, so Kenya comes over there with Brooklyn, and Drew tells Kenya about how she's been doing music with Dennis. He's been helping her, etc., etc. And Kenya was like, Porsha's Dennis? How does she feel about this? And Drew was very much like, yeah, like, you know, he gave her the green light, or however she put it. He gave her he gave her his, you know, she gave her blessing, or however she put it, to them, you know, working together, whatever. Do we really believe that, though? Based off of Porsha's reaction, I can assume not, or I can assume that if Dennis did tell her something, it was not in that much detail, or he probably doctored it up in a way to where she didn't really catch on to exactly what was happening, or maybe she did. I don't know. You never know between Porsha and Dennis, because I feel like they actively, their whole relationship was founded on them like playing in each other's faces, and I feel like they do a lot of retaliatory things to one another, and I think they're very much a reactionary type of people. So who's to even say if he did or didn't tell her, or if he did tell her what he did, how he explained it? I don't know. But what I do know is Kenya's wheels were turning when Drew told her that. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And Kenya was like, you know, well, if that's the case, if he's been in music for all this time and stuff like that, why didn't he produce anything for Porsha? You know, because her song came out back in the day and it didn't go anywhere. I thought that was hilarious when they played that. And Dennis, you talking about this can help this is like mutually beneficial because it can help go towards PJ's college fund. I'm just like, Dennis, for real though, like, when did you get into music? Because last time I checked, you were into hot dogs. And Drew, you also are confusing me with this whole thing, because it's like, at the end of the day, you couldn't ask anybody. You were in Atlanta, Georgia, and you might not be an A-list celebrity out here, but I'm sure you know enough people that know enough people that know enough people that you could have asked anybody else to produce this for you. Like, I'm sure you know somebody who knows Jazzy Faye, or fucking Candy is, you know, Candy obviously well enough to have starred in one of her productions. So why couldn't you just ask her to drop some beats? Like, I don't get it. So, and that's probably the story. That's probably going to be the storyline that I care the least about, Ralph and Drew and whatever they have going on. Like, I don't care too much, because I think it's all just BS. You never know with Drew, because she be stretching the truth as well. Anyway, moving right along, we're introduced to Kelli. It was her daughter's 17th birthday, which was a tea party theme. I thought it was super cute. And in this scene, I actually didn't mind Kelli. I actually liked her in this scene, y'all. But later on in the episode, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about her later on. But as of right now, I do like her enough to say that I think she is a good addition to the show overall. But again, she came in with an agenda. You can't tell me otherwise. Just saying. So again, from there, we have her daughter. She has 4 daughters. This is her oldest, 17 years old. Then she has an 11-year-old and 2 identical twins that are 8 years old. And the 3 youngest are with her now ex-husband. She was going through divorce at the time of filming, but she has 4 daughters total. We get like a quick little glimpse of her townhouse, which was giving very much to 2017 glam, which, I mean, I cannot fully talk because my bedroom set is very much 2017 glam, but I'm also not on, national TV, so whatever. But I almost think for her to be having her business booming down there, Nana's Chicken and Waffles or whatever. If you guys have been there, let me know. I've actually heard from everybody online and stuff like that the food is good. So I'm not hating on it at all. But for her to have, her business booming like that, I'm going to assume that this is only a temporary landing place, this townhome of hers, or, maybe it was something that she just needed to get into while this divorce was being finalized or whatever. It doesn't give me that this was the family home necessarily. But again, we only saw like a quick 15-second clip, not even probably 15 seconds, probably like 5-second clip of what her house is giving. But what she does let us know is that her marriage, it became really bad at the end. She was married 11 years. Her ex-husband's name is Mark. His face was blurred out, but I want to say she's been going through this with him. She said something about 2.5 years. So I'm assuming, yeah, it's been going on, trying to be finalized for the last 2.5 years between them. And towards the end, police were being called numerous times. It was a very unsafe environment for her. And that was all she was trying to let us know, which that tells me that potentially there could have been some DV or like something, because the kids also can't see him right now too. It's what I picked up based on her conversation with some of her family members and stuff. So there's more to that, which I'm sure will come out eventually. But right now, that's all she gave us. She's originally from Baltimore. She moved to Atlanta in 2023. She opened the Nana's Chicken and Waffles in 2016. They have 24 karat gold maple syrup. She has a cookbook. She has a mimosa mix, etc., etc. And again, it seems like she's doing the damn thing as far as her business goes. I cannot hate on that one bit. I love to see it. And what I also love to see is children, young Black girls, just getting all of the best things in life, which in this case just so happens to be 17 gifts specifically that her daughter was given, and most of which were designer purses. I saw Chanel, I saw Balmain, I saw, et cetera, et cetera. And she, that seems to be what she's into. She says that her daughter, seems to be a good kid. So I thought that was great. I don't have anything wrong with that because other people do it all the time for their kids. So I thought that was totally okay. And she just seems like a go-getter, a woman who's about her business. And I can respect that. And that's why in this scene, I was cool with it. I think her independently, I think I will like when she gets into the group and seeing how she's not, above putting her hand right up in the fire. That's a different story. But again, we'll get into all that, y'all. Then we see Porsha going down to the lawyer. This is not her first time on TV going down to the lawyer's office. This is her second time. And production was quick to let us know that back in 2013, we've been down this road with her before. So just throwing that out there, Porsha. Simon was less than open about the finances. And as time progressed, it seems as though they were getting, pulled to the secondary line in the airport, et cetera, et cetera. And there was just a lot of just gray area as it pertained to his financial situation and things that could have also gotten her caught up, I guess, which in her case is why she filed a divorce to enforce the prenup and the only way to enforce the prenup is to file for divorce in order to protect the assets being the home in this case, which she might not have put her money into the purchase of the home. But based on the prenup, it said that they have a 50-50 interest in the home, which is why she got such an issue with the fact that now he's interfering with how she makes her money, which is by filming in a home that I also apparently, according to the prenup, have 50% interest in. And it's like, at the same time, do I think that this is the way the cookie crumbled when it came to you, Porsha, because no one told you to marry this man? Yes. But also, I feel like Simon, if that's what it says, then that's, that's what it says. And in the end, if it goes Porsha's way, she will have come up on a couple $1 million from that sale of that house. And I say sale because I don't see her keeping up that house like that. And that's totally okay. She could just sell it and get the money. So again, I guess that was her logic, was that, you know, they were cool until they weren't, which stems back to on Valentine's Day, which I guess was, last Valentine's Day, not this past one, but 2024 Valentine's Day, I believe, is when things just completely went over the edge. And she said that she had been posting, acting as if everything was perfect, knowing good and damn well that they were having issues. And so ultimately, I can't feel bad when it comes to that part of stuff, because she was the one that came quick and in a hurry to let us know that it's not Porsha Williams, it's Porsha Gubadia. So you want to be Porsha Gubadia so bad? Well, this is what happens to people that want to be Porsha Gubadia so bad, that they have to now clean up these types of messes and be enthralled in this type of being trolled online and all these different things. Because at the end of the day, this man said that he had the movers on speed dial, and you still thought that it was a good idea to go on ahead and marry him when you saw how he did his ex-wife. So whatever. But according to her, she just wants to move on. Anyway, Shamea, Brit, and Kelli. Okay, so this is when they go out for dinner or whatever. And we're not formally introduced to Brit by this point, but obviously, like, we already kind of know who all was on at least I could figure out by now who all was on the cast. So we see her, Brit, and Kelli, or Brit, Kelli, and Shamea, I should say, sitting down for dinner. And I'm like, I don't know why we had to just hear all about how you now have a 10-carat ring versus 7-carat ring, and you know, you want to just go show. It seems like, I don't know, you might want to go get it fitted or resized a little bit, because I feel like it spins a little much for it to be that size, and it could tell me that I could possibly slip off. So just saying, girl, word to the wise. But I guess Kelli and Brit, they bond over having a good time. Like she said, when she's drinking, she got to make sure her titties are in check. Okay. And Kelli seems like the same type of girl. So they just hit it off real good from the get-go. I know now that there's been trouble in paradise for them. I don't think that they're anywhere near as cool as they were at this point in time, and I wonder why. I'm sure we're going to get into that later on. At least not, even if we don't get to it during the season, I'm sure it'll be addressed at the reunion, of course. But right off the bat, Shamea starts telling them about her birthday party, and they want to know who all is going to be there, whatever. And she tells them, you know, Porsha, her bestie, she's of course going to be there, and she's going through a very public divorce. And Brit goes, well, like, I'm sure she'll come out on top. I'm sure it'll be, you know, cool, whatever. But Kelli, on the other hand, she's like, well, she shouldn't have taken that girl's man. Let's get it started, and let's get it started. Well, alrighty then. She, like I said, came in there clearly with an agenda, and later on she tries to say that it's because apparently there was some infidelity in Kelli's own marriage. So this is something that she's very passionate and stands firm in and stuff like that. Okay, I got that. Cool. But I just feel like you showed a vested interest in it because of who Porsha was on the show, and the fact that, you know, someone had to say it overall. Do I necessarily think it should have came from Kelli? Probably not. I would have assumed, and I would think it would be more digestible for a lot of us for it to have came from Kenya or somebody along those lines. And at the same time, Porsha, you should have known that it was somebody was going to hit you with it, whether it be someone new, old, or someone in between. You were going to be hit with what we've all been thinking for these last 3 years since you've been off, the exact thing that you ran away from saying and away from addressing while you weren't on the show, which is Why did you run off with that lady's husband and her Hennessy? And Shamea, she was like, whoa, let's be clear. There was no crossover. And Kelli, she continues to break it down. And, I must agree. Shit did look crazy, Porsha. It did. It definitely did. And I feel like it did. But at the same time, that would be admitting your own, wrongdoings or your own ignorance, negligence, etc. And admitting that, yes, it did look crazy. And you don't want to be looked at as the home wrecker, even let you tell it the home was already wrecked, probably. But girl, we all were watching. We were all watching. And I also can agree when Kelli said, I think they're all messy, because it's not even just Porsha. I think Porsha, Simon, freaking Fallon, Jalen, Dennett, like just all them people over there. I think they all have their things about them. And a lot of people played different parts in this whole fiasco. But right now we're talking about Porsha, because we're talking about the Real Housewives, and you're on the show. Sorry. But Shamea, I will give her credit. She did subtly windmill for her best friend. And Shamea is better than me, because when Porsha didn't show up to my wedding, however many years ago, and gave me all these superficial excuses, I would have stopped being friends with her then. Not to mention, there's probably been so many other times that Porsha has been less than a good friend to Shamea. And I feel like that's evident based on how she reacted to her showing up late and pulling stunts and shows at her party later on in the episode. But we'll get there. Brit is also just as messy, I feel like, because she had to let them know that Drew is dating Dennis, allegedly. That's what she heard through the grapevine. And Dennis also has been known to apparently comment on Kelli's bikini pics on Instagram, just as well as Brit also said that she heard some things about Drew and it's a mess and whatever. I feel like, again, they came on the show knowing that someone like Drew was low-hanging fruit, so that's probably why they don't feel a type of way by bringing this type of thing up right now at the table. Again, one was going for Kenya, one was going for Porsha. And I'm sure as the episodes continue to go on, we'll see more of these new ladies' true colors based on how they handle themselves in certain situations and what they choose to go after. Brit also said that back in the day, Dennis brought her a diamond necklace, and I was like, I don't know. I need to hear more sides. I need to hear more information about this, because I'm very confused. And I was also confused by when she started talking about how she was a video vixen back in high school. I was like, was anybody else thrown off by that? Because I didn't know how to take that, or I didn't know if she was trying to paint a particular picture in our mind. I don't know. Anyway, Porsha and Shamea, they meet at the strip club, which I know it's very Atlanta-ish. They say they got some of the best food, and I don't deny that. I really don't. But do I feel like this kind of just only fueled the whole, this is giving Love and Hip Hop Atlanta or Zeus or whatever, however you want to put it? Yeah, I feel like it just continued to fuel those type of thoughts by them meeting up in the strip club to eat and, having the clappers, right there in your face. Like, okay. Simon apparently congratulated Shamea on her peach. Y'all need to let me know if you think that, like, that was inappropriate of Shamea to basically play nice with him and call him bro and stuff like that. I think multiple things can be true at the same time. Like I always say, y'all, I do feel like Shamea, or I feel like I wouldn't want my best friend. Like, no, it's if I'm saying fuck him, it is fuck him. And I would have been the same way. But I think in this case, it's just such a peculiar situation. And I think it all could have been avoided had you not walked down the aisle and married that man from the get-go, Porsha. But I digress. Shamea also tells Porsha about how the girls brought up her taking why she took that lady's man the night before when they met up. Porsha was taken aback, of course, and you know, she tries to act like she's just going to toss her and discard her in the block bin with everybody else online. And I can see again that Porsha, I feel like her tactic during the season, unless it was again someone like Kenny or something like that, it's just she was just gonna avoid talking about whatever it was and lose her, you know, seniority, so to speak, on the show. I feel like in her favor to avoid facing the music and being told about herself when it comes to Simon and how she took that lady's husband. Like, what are we talking about here? Shamea tells them about Drew, or how they asked about Drew, because you know she's heard that Drew and Dennis have been hanging out a lot, and it seems like at this point in time, Porsha thought that the only reason why Drew and Dennis were talking was based around her birthday party. But joke's on you. Actually, apparently they've been hanging out more than a little bit. Are you guys buying that? I need to know. Like, are you guys actually buying that there may be something going on between Drew and Dennis, or there has been something that happened between them? Or do you guys just think this is all for storyline? I'm starting to think this is all just, again, a way for him to, I feel like even Porsha marrying Simon was speaking to the fact that her and Dennis just like to just play like little stupid mind games and little just immature games with one another. So even if it is true, I feel like on Dennis's part, it's just because it's just something to do to piss Porsha off, possibly. Because do you guys also feel like Porsha and Dennis, they still be messing around from time to time, or they never stop messing around? Or like, I just want to hear all y'all's thoughts and opinions on these different situationships / connections and overlap that just like ain't nobody else in Atlanta other than y'all, like that you gotta keep, you know, moving from this person to this person and just anyway. So Brit's husband telling her to keep her drinking in check, pretty much. What did you guys think about that? I'd love to know, because I feel like, so is she somebody that gets, you know, loose off the goose? Is she somebody who, you know, gets very like vocal when she speaks, liquid courage? Like what did he mean by that exactly? And I'm interested to see more about their dynamic, because I don't know. I don't know how to perceive him yet, just based off the little interactions we've gotten. Cynthia and Porsha FaceTime while she's getting ready for the party, or both of them, I should say, are getting ready for the party. And Cynthia, she can empathize with Porsha to a degree about the divorce and everything. And she was actually quite sad that this means like, oh, does this mean now we can't go to Nigeria? Porsha's like, oh no, we can still go, whatever. Of course you can still go. Porsha be in Nigeria. Porsha be all over the place. Anytime it can benefit her. And that's why I say again that it's such BS, the reasons behind why she didn't make it to Shamea's party. I feel like Porsha can make it to the places she wants to make it to when she cares about them enough. I do feel like that. And it sucks that I really hope, somehow I hope that Shamea's already, I feel like Shamea should have already seen this in Porsha, and maybe she just isn't choosing to, you know, cut her off or whatever. But it would suck if Shamea just really genuinely hasn't seen Porsha for being less than a friend to her, and it took them both to come on this show. That would really suck. Because it's like, girl, we could have seen this. We saw this 10 years ago. We saw this 5 years ago, 6 years ago, however many years ago, that you show up for this girl and she doesn't really seem like the type to do the same thing. When she seems like the type that is secretly in competition. You cannot be friends with people like that, y'all. I'm telling you right now, it's just not going to work. Especially if you're a person like me, it's just not going to work. Like, if you can't be a girl's girl and be somebody who is just as, happy to celebrate your friends as they are to you, then like, I don't want it. Like, get away from me. People like that are dangerous and they scare me. Yes, they do. So, Cynthia also asks Porsha if she's heard from Drew because, she's going through divorce too, or is it finalized, whatever. And Porsha's like, yeah, she's got a really good support system. Dennis has been there for her and stuff. And Cynthia's like, wait, what? Wait, whoa. You have to catch me all the way up on this because, Like, and Porsha just laughed it off or whatever. And it's also giving like you said, you guys, you don't have any romantic interest in that man. So on one hand, I could see it being like, okay, you and Drew are cool or whatever. You just maybe would have thought like, oh girl, like I just would have figured it would have came up in conversation or something. That's one thing versus you really pitching like a whole ass attitude, it seems like, based on the fact that no one told you anything. And it's just like, but I thought you just said that you don't want that man. Like, and therefore then there's really no obligation to tell you anything then, because and she tries to make it about the fact that, oh no, she was trying to film with him, and that can like throw things off or be that can have some type of bearing on whatever she has going on or her feelings or however she put it. And again, it's like on one hand, you're saying you could care less, but I feel like you're giving it a lot more energy than somebody who says they could care less. Just saying. Kelli comes to the party first because Shamea wants to have this quick little sit down with her. And so when she does, she tells her that she felt uncomfortable the other night when she brought up Porsha taking somebody's man and, whatever. And this is where Kelli's like, well, my whole thing is in my marriage, there was, I have been cheated on. So she's feeling very passionate about these types of things. And that's just where she was speaking from. So they're able to come to, a good place with that. But Shamea also wanted to let her know that she told Porsha about this. And Kelli, she wasn't thrown off by that because she kind of assumed that Shamea may have told her something based on the Amazon Live that Porsha did, where she said something along the lines that could have been kind of like, I don't want to say derogatory, but she said something, slightly shady about Kells, whatever she called her. So no surprise there. What else happened? So I saw this clip of Cynthia being enamored by Shamea's house, or again, shall I say Sterling Hall, because it doesn't even have an address. It's just, Sterling Hall to be exact. And Shamea's husband, he is in the HVAC business. A lot of the HVAC systems that are in some of the airports that we frequent are actually products of his that he, installed, manufactured, etc. And I think that's awesome, especially because it's not like he's some a tech tycoon or is some world-renowned surgeon or just anything crazy. He does a job that is very much in line with people that I know personally and individuals that I've, even gone to school with when I went to, trade school and stuff like that, which is why I'm always an advocate for trade schools. Yes, do I have formal degrees? Of course. But at the end of the day, me getting, me going to a trade school and learning a trade honestly was one of the smartest and best things that I ever could have done for myself at 16 years old, because that's always something that I now have to fall back on. And I feel like a lot of people are always, preaching like, oh yeah, college. And there's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with college at all, but there is other routes you can take. And I mean, quite honestly, I feel like me personally, I feel like I've tried all the different routes, and I don't regret any of them. I don't think that one is better than the other. I think that college is for certain people. I think that trades are for certain people. I think that military is for, other people, whatever. And I think that, again, it is nice to see this type of example of, how far you can take those things and how it can pan out for you. So I do think, with that being said, Shamea is a good, addition to this cast, and I'm very curious to know, just again, more of her story in depth and more of what they have going on and stuff like that. I am interested in that. Nonetheless, Angela, we meet her. She is the wife of Charles Oakley, which I like basketball, but not familiar with him too much. So, but he's a legend, the enforcer. They've been married 8 years. And she says he's very direct. He's a very straight shooter. She has a lot to say about him. He throws down in the kitchen, puts some respect on his name, all these different things. And my whole thing with that is cool. Like, boast about your man. That's I'm not hating on it. Do what you want to do. But I just hope that Angela has an identity outside of her husband, outside of their marriage and stuff like that, because it's just like she just led with that. And I'm like, okay, but what's Angela got going on? Like, Angela, talk your shit about Angela. If y'all feel me? Yeah. So Cynthia, she sits down with Kelli, and Kelli lets her know about the conversation that she had with Shamea, and how Shamea told Porsha what she said, and, all these different things. And Cynthia was like, whoa, like, first of all, Kelli came in hot, okay? Don't let her size fool you. She is coming in with some force behind those words. And Kelli's whole thing is, well, if, she's shy, Portia's shy, like, I'm shy too. So she's coming in guns blazing. It's clear that she is not trying to back down when it comes to this. And I mean, I'm glad, because it's like this has been such a big, I don't want to say elephant, maybe I will say elephant in the room. This has been such a topic of discussion online, and just a highly anticipated thing to be addressed for quite some time now, that I'm assuming, yeah, Kelli knew what she was doing. Like, that's not something she could just say and just like glaze over. That's not something she could just bring up, or an accusation she could just make without knowing like what could potentially come of that. And what I say also is, like, I'm not sitting here saying that Porsha is the biggest Billy badass in Atlanta, but at the same time, Porsha has put her hands on some people. She has her ways about her and stuff like that. So again, Kelli must have knew what she was doing and what tree she was barking up when she started barking. Okay. Brit asking Drew, is she publicly dating? And Drew said that there is people, but there's some people showing interest, but she's not trying to like move ahead on that, I guess, until she finalizes things with her divorce and whatever, I guess. How did you guys feel about Charles telling Angela to go check her hair? Did you guys feel like that was shade? I don't know. How do you guys perceive Charles just yet? It didn't really throw me off. I thought, though, at the same time, okay, it must be really hot down there in Atlanta, because on that particular day, because I feel like they hadn't even been there for that long, and Wig was already slipping and sliding. But I'm glad, I'm glad somebody told you at least. So she went inside, got herself together or whatever, and we were good. So right after that, we have Kenya walking up. And when she walks up, she does hug and greet. She greets everybody. She does hug both Drew and Cynthia, which I felt no ways about because we know that her and Cynthia go way back, and we know that her and Drew are familiar with one another as well. I didn't think that it was odd that she didn't physically hug Brit or Kelli when she just is meeting them. And then from there, Kelli like turns and says, "Hey, I'm Kelli," or whatever, and Brit was like, "I'm Brit." But I felt like, again, Brit had an agenda as soon as Kelli walked up there. And Drew actually brought it up first. She asks Kenya if she's divorced yet. And Kenya's like, you know what? She says no, which we already knew, obviously. Like, it seems like that's never going to happen. And then Brit takes it upon herself to ask, oh, is it 5 of you guys going through divorce? Drew, you, like, okay, like, yeah. And it's nothing to feel, it's nothing to feel bad about. It's nothing to feel like, maybe on one hand, it shouldn't have been a big deal, but I only say that because it seems like Brit seems like that type of people that like to, that are just like glorifying and holding marriage and the fact that they are married on a pedestal. And coming from someone who's married, I'm just going to tell you that that's not the final all be all in life. Like I don't allow myself to be defined by the fact that I'm married. Like there's a lot more there. But sometimes I do feel as though women that I've known even personally have held their marriage on such a pedestal, and then by proxy, kind of look down on women that weren't married or use that to their advantage or, whatever. So I feel like in this moment, that was kind of a little bit of what Brit was getting at by saying, oh, so you're divorced? Like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. Like you knew who you were coming on the show with. Like, okay. And, Kenny's like, and oh, you're married? Oh, you don't have your other ring. Like, so you're engaged? Or because that's also true at the same time too. You only have one ring on. Usually in people's wedding set, they have. I don't have any because I'm in town. I don't have any rings on right now. But I have my engagement ring and my wedding ring. So usually when people, are married, a lot of times, as far as I know, you wear them together. / a lot of people get them like welded together too or whatever. So there's like one piece or whatever, but usually there's 2 there. So I don't think that was shade at all, as much as Kenny doesn't know you from a can of paint at this point. So it's like, girl, it was just a question, my opinion. And then to take it a step further, Brett's like, oh yeah, I'm married. It's my second ring. And it's like, oh, so you've been married twice? Or whatever, however can you put it? And she's all like, no, like I've only had one husband, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, oh, okay, girl, like easy mistake, I feel like, or easy. That's something that I can easily be confused on. So I didn't take it as shade at all. And I would love to hear from you guys and ask you all, did you guys feel like that was shady? Did you guys feel like that was weird? Like, how did you guys feel about that? Because girl, relax. That's how I felt. Nonetheless, from there, Brit is got a chip on her shoulder. She feels some type of way based upon the fact that I guess that line of questioning also coming after the fact that Kenya hugged everybody but her or whatever. She was doing a lot and not enough at the same time for me, but whatever. And Kelli also was backing her up and seeing it as her throwing unnecessary shade. And then she's unnecessary shade from someone with no rings or however she put it about Kenya. And I'm just like, who's really bothered here? Anyway. So Shamea, she finally makes her grand entrance, and it was like an all white party, and she had on blue, which, okay, interesting. Let me just say, Shamea had like 3 confessional looks. I think maybe Porsha did too in this first season opener, which, you know, I would have been fine with just one, and just one really good one. But I already knew coming into this season that Shamea was going to work my nerves with her fashions and stuff, because Mama needs a stylist. Mama needs to hire, like I said yesterday, she needs to hire Wendy stylist, Candy stylist, somebody stylist, because it's just not like giving what I know it can give. And I say I know it can give because I know she has the coin to back it up. So I'm gonna really need her to come better, please. I didn't care for this with the grill and the Shamea chain or whatever, the blazer dress. I think it was a blazer dress. Didn't care for this one. And then the black one wasn't so bad. The one up here in the middle, I didn't hate that one. And I don't have the one of her. She had orange on in this other one. I didn't care for that one either. I liked all of Porsha's confessional looks. Drew looked cute in hers. I didn't like the pink look on Kelli so much, but it was, you know, whatever. I did like this like Chanel look or whatever down here though. That is cute. Brit's looks were fine, except I don't have the one up here of, she had like this denim, and it was like a bob and denim and like pink lips or whatever. It was definitely giving me Nicki Minaj vibes, but didn't really love that one either. Okay, so yeah, some people I think hit it out the park, while others left a lot to be desired in that regard. And I'll just leave it like that. And then at the party, I thought all the ladies looked nice for the most part, except I did not care for Cynthia's wig, and I didn't love her dress, but you know, it was what it was ultimately. And as you can see, this is before Porsha got there, because Porsha didn't get there until like way after Shamea made her grand entrance. And of course, Shamea's like, you know, where's Porsha or whatever? Porsha's MIA, which is crazy because when she FaceTimed Cynthia, they were still both getting ready or whatever, and she still wasn't ready. Just insane. And I get it. She's coming from Duluth or whatever. But there's still no excuse though, y'all, because at the end of the day, if I know that my best friend's having, you know, her party, she got something going on, whatever, I'm going to be there for my best friend. Like, and if I know that traffic can be a mother, then I'm going to get ready at my best friend's house. I'm not going to miss my best friend's moment. And that's what I mean. Like, I don't think she prioritizes their friendship, and I think it's on purpose. Anyway, this is also when Shamea unveils her Rolls Royce, which I actually saw online when it like happened or whatever last year. Giving, yeah, y'all see the price tag, yeah, And I guess this is like the top of the line of the Rolls Royces. I don't know. I got one. I got a Kia, but I'm not mad at it. Go off. I'm here for it. But you know what I'm not here for? To alleged best friends ruining their best friend's moment by coming right up in the mix. So Porsha walks right in as Shamea's going, oh yeah, oh my God, my good girl. Porsha walks right up. She's like, hey girl, like, and it's like, girl, like a moment, like go to the side with everybody else. And it's like, I really tried to understand it from Porsha's point of view. And she addressed this, I want to say, on the Breakfast Club or one of these interviews that she did. And I'll probably do a short reacting to what she said verbatim, because I don't remember. I just know that she said something that included like, well, you know, if it was me, I would just also be up there with my best friend. Like, I would want my best friend up there with me, you know, us both working on the thing or whatever. And it's just like, I really tried to understand that from somebody who's, you know, girl's girl, for somebody who, you know, loves to see her friends win and stuff like that. I tried to understand it from that point of view, but it's like, I guess because we know Porsha to be somebody who's less than friendly towards people that they call friends, when the push comes to shove, I think it was on purpose. And then on the other flip side, I'm like, okay, Did production try to be messy and tell her to come at this exact moment and tell her that this was exactly her call time and to like go right now? I don't know, but I hope it's addressed at the reunion because I don't know. Nonetheless, right after that, then Shamea goes upstairs to change into her second outfit and Porsha helps her. And Portia's all like, I'm sorry, I was late or whatever, traffic or whatever. And Shamea was clearly like feeling some type of way. And even in her confessional before that, she was like, she threw a little light shade or whatever at Porsha. But I think that she reacted the way she did because this is not the first time that Porsha's done something like this, or this is just like, she probably just sees it as like, this is just how Porsha is. Like, she takes the bad with the good, I guess, maybe with her. And I don't feel like that should be the case. I feel like instead of seeing it for what it is and knowing like, okay, maybe their friendship hasn't always been like this. Maybe it only turned like this when the cameras came on 10 years ago. I don't know. But as it stands right here and right now in 2025, I don't feel like they need to be friends anymore. I feel like that is a friendship that is expired, has ran its course. And I think that, like I think you guys have outgrown one another. Ultimately. So again, she helps her get out of her dress or whatever. And she was like, it's nothing I can do about it now. And it's just, that's what it is. And then downstairs, Cynthia actually tells Kenya what Kelli told her. And I don't know. I laughed when Kenya said, hide your husband, hide your wife. And all I could think about, again, shout outs to Rodney the Voice, is one of you bitches gonna eat my pussy tonight. When Kenya said that, that's all I could think about Porsha saying, like, sorry. It's just funny to me. But from there, and he's like, oh, okay, whatever. And so then Kenya walks over to, or maybe I think Brit might have actually walked up to her to be all like, oh, well, can I get a hug? Because, you greeted everybody, hugged everybody but me. And Kenya's like, what? Like, but Kenya kept it cute. She was like, you know what? Y'all come over here with me. So she takes Kelli and Brit over here. And this is where Kelli lets her know that, or she hit her with the question of, my question was, why did she take that lady's husband? Because Kenya's trying to get to the bottom of what all was said or what all occurred, whatever. And just as she's saying that, Porsha's walking up. Portia's walking up where she, hits her with that question or whatever. And Porsha was like, who are you? Like, no, that was actually really funny to me. But at the same time, I was like, Porsha, you know exactly who she is. You're trying to play it off. You're trying to skedaddle on out of this conversation when you got to face the music. I wish that it was Kenya or somebody else that would have said it to her, though, because I would have loved to know how she would have weaseled her way. You know who Kenya is. So next, I would have loved to see what she would have said in that situation, because, girl, I won't. You know what you did. So just come clean with it. Just admit it. I don't know. But it was too loud at this point. All the ladies are around. So to continue this conversation, they go upstairs and somehow they get more so into Drew having I think it was Shamea that brought it up. Like, oh, I didn't get a invitation to your birthday party. Like, blah, blah, blah. And Drew's like, nobody got one. My assistant coordinated it or something. And Portia's like, I got one. Dennis gave it to me. Dennis? Huh? And that's exactly where we leave off with Shamea asking Drew flat out, like, are you dating Dennis? Again, I want to know what you guys think about that. Do y'all feel like they're dating? Do you feel like they're not? Do you feel like, what do y'all feel like is going on between Drew and Dennis? Because that's exactly where we pick up next week, or this week, actually, technically. Yeah. Actually, no. Well, technically, Sunday is next week. So, and y'all know what I'm saying. That's what we pick up. And I actually seen the sneak peek and stuff. And I did see Porsha like tearing into Drew and stuff. So I feel like this is obviously where the rift between them has started. I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. But again, y'all, I want to know all of your thoughts on this season opener. It wasn't terrible, but at the same time, you know, there were some parts where I was like, okay, I mean, I wasn't like on the edge of my seat. So with that being said, I would probably give it like somewhere between like a 6.5 and a 7, I would say. And by no means, like I said, I didn't hate it or anything. It wasn't like, oh my God, I just need to rewatch it 20 times. No, definitely not. But again, I want to know what you guys think about it. And again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of the things. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.